I don't know how to start it.
Hey guys.
Hey guys, welcome to Mona Stoma and me. This is going to be like a little, I don't know, podcast, blog sort of thing with me and Madison, mum and daughter, talking all about when I first got sick. We'll start off, Madison, with when were you first aware of me being ill?
Yeah, so I didn't know fully at first because a lot of the things mum didn't really want me and Finny knowing just because of the sake of it. She didn't want the stress obviously on us too and stuff. But I realised it a lot more when you came down proper unwell and you were in hospital quite a bit for like checkups and appointments to see how everything was going. But it was around like the main time of like you going in for surgery that we saw it a lot more.
Did you realise I was ill years before? All the times I was going to the toilet or having accidents, or do you think I sort of hid that?
I feel like
from
you
you?
hid it a lot more because there'd be points where you'd say you'd had accident and you wouldn't be able to tell. There wasn't any ways of seeing that happened or like knowing that happens. When you say like you went out in public and obviously had those accidents or whatever else, I never knew that because obviously you hid it quite well and you always had things on you to like know whether if anything did happen you had the spare stuff.
Did you know when I used to spend days on end in bed that there wasn't something right, or did you just think, oh, she's just not feeling great?
There would be a few days that you'd be in bed that obviously you were a lot more like, you did seem a lot more unwell than just like a cold or whatever. So I took a bit of a hint there to that, like that there was something going wrong.
So you realised basically the real severity of it all was when I first got admitted to hospital?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. What struggles did you face while I was poorly?
I feel like it was hard in a way to like speak to you about things because I didn't want to put the stress of obviously you being unwell on top of like things that like say for instance something happened at like school with just like I fell out with some mates or whatever. I didn't want to like make you more stressed about things than you already were about your health anyway. I'd just like make sure to make anything I spoke to you about like positive.
But when I say what struggles did you face, how did it affect you?
I feel like when you went into hospital, I was a lot more like, it hit me a lot more. And knowing that when you went into hospital, I found out obviously that if you didn't have that surgery, it was pretty much life threatening. It did hit me big time. I did realise that obviously this is a massive surgery and it's not as small as I thought it would be.
And
So
how did that make you feel?
I was a bit upset. I was stressed. I was very upset the whole time that because I didn't go to school much over the time because it was hard. I came home and I used to be in bits about it. I used to call Lucy and Nanny and always be like, I don't like I had to speak to them because I didn't know how to like let it out in a way, and like, I felt like me crying to myself wouldn't really help. So I'd speak to them, and they'd update me on what's going on with you. It brought me a bit more ease knowing what was going on, and like how you were going throughout the days. But
So do you feel like you had a lot of support from friends and family?
when you went into hospital and actually had all the surgery, obviously me and Finny were living with Nanny and Lucy, and obviously we had the family there. Like if Mia, my cousin, knew if I'd get upset about things, she had to take my mind off it, and obviously she knew that we were both struggling much with it, so they'd try and help, and they'd like Lucy would try and make us get you to FaceTime us so we could speak to you and stuff, and it was much more nicer knowing that obviously they were all there to try and support at the same time as you were going through all of it.
Right, so anyway, what was your understanding of what was wrong with me?
I knew obviously the surgery was removing the large intestine
But what was I having this for?
because you had Crohn's and colitis, which basically
You don't need to explain. No, that's fine. It's what is your understanding?
basically they found tons of polyps in your bowel.
Oh yeah, but that's not Crohn's and colitis.
Well, I don't actually know what Crohn's and colitis properly is, but
So
I know you had polyps, and they found loads. And I don't know, did they even take a swab of yours or not?
a swab,
I didn't want to do it of mine.
a biopsy.
That one.
Swab.
Is that not what it's called?
It's a biopsy, you do.
Oh, there you go then.
Right, let's just quickly get this right. The polyps I had was a condition called serrated polyposis syndrome.
That's it.
Which is what you and Finley are going to be tested under genetics for. They're going to test your genes to see if you and Finley have got or are going to have the same gene. And then the Crohn's and colitis, that's inflammatory bowel disease, what you're being tested for.
Yeah.
Right.
IBS.
No!
Irritable
IBS and IBD are not the same.
Why did I get
So IBS is irritable bowel syndrome,
and then
and then IBD is inflammatory bowel inflammatory
bowel disease.
God.
Oh god.
Is that what your understanding of it all is?
Yes, you got your large intestine removed, and now you've got your small one on the outside of your stomach, so now you've got a stoma.
Called?
Mona.
Well done.
Because at Christmas we call her Mona Claus.
What? Where did that come from?
That's what I call her.
Hey, whatever. Oh my god.
Yes, that's obviously you have also bowel cancer alongside of it.
Well, they found things after in
You got that removed, didn't you?
in the appendix, but that's a whole other thing.
And now you've got your bum sewn up as well.
Oh yeah,
Barbie butt surgery. It's quite cool actually.
And do you understand why? Sorry, what were you gonna say?
Now when we make jokes, we make jokes about her not having a bum hole.
I'm the butt of the joke.
Exactly.
And do you actually understand why I had the rectum removed?
No. Wait, rectum, that's your bum, isn't it? Because, well, your small intestine is the one that links to your bum, isn't it?
Right.
Basically, you don't want to leak out your bum because you've got no bum hole now.
Oh, Madison, I got the rectum removed because the disease diverted to the rectum. After I had the bowel removed, it all diverted into the rectum.
Why have I never been told this? I just knew you had your bum sewn up.
Oh, God.
I thought it's because you could leak.
How do you feel about my social media, my Instagram?
I love it. I think it's really useful because you're helping others out with knowing the condition and knowing that there's help out there and there's people who you can speak to about all of it. I think it's really motivating. I tell my friends about it and I feel quite I think it's just amazing that you can be there for people, and obviously you meet up with people who have stomas and help them out with ways they can deal with it. And I think it's actually quite empowering. I think it's very nice.
Lush, thanks. Thanks. So when I came home from hospital and was recovering, you kind of took on the role of being like my little nurse, and you were caring for me to the best of your ability, obviously. Do you feel in that time anyone was caring for you? Because obviously it's your mum that's sick, so I'm not able to look after you. Do you feel like there was anyone caring for you in that time?
I don't know, I still had Nanny and Lucy and all that, obviously, because they, as much as I was at home helping you whilst they were out working or whatever, not able to come round, I'd obviously help out with you, and then they'll come round to make sure that me and Finley are all alright and that we've got everything we need, and then they come round to see you. So I do feel that we had Nanny and Lucy still, but obviously at the same time there was also that feeling that maybe I didn't have as much support in that way. Not support as in someone there, because more the fact I was just focusing on getting you better and you recovering the way.
Did you feel a bit lonely?
I think a little bit, because it's kind of hard because Finley's not an age where you can properly speak to him about it.
Well, he was a lot younger then. 3 years ago.
I could say things, but he wouldn't. Finley's very much a person who'd if you say something to him, he'd be like, oh, I don't know, or I'm not sure. He doesn't really say how he feels. It's not as easy to have a conversation with him. It was kind of hard, being at home, just us three, that I couldn't have Finley to talk to as much, because obviously he had his mates, whatever, he was on his gaming as he always does. And I don't know. I don't know. We don't even know how he felt about all of it, really, because he doesn't really speak about the way he feels about stuff. I feel like I could have spoke to him, but I don't think he would have understood as much as he would possibly now.
What do you think you have learned going through all of this with me?
I've learned a lot more about your condition and the ways that possibly, if I ever or Finley ever came down the route of how you have, that I've got a bit more of a backing to know how to deal with it, sort of thing.
Do you feel a bit more prepared that we're potentially going down the route of you having bowel disease or the polyp syndrome, actually? Yeah,
and I feel a lot more good knowing the fact I've got someone who has obviously gone through the deep end of all of it.
Mama bear.
Yeah, but also knowing that I've learned a bit whilst caring for you with all of you, how you've gone through it. I've got a lot more I've ready for if I do go down that route.
Following on from that one, do you feel better prepared for if you were to have these conditions, or do you fear? Does it make you feel fearful about going through it all yourself?
I think a bit of both. I feel like prepared as in the fact of that I know I've obviously got you by my side, knowing that you know what's going on, and that if I feel I don't understand anything, I can speak to you about it, like, and you know the ins and outs. Then I also fear it because the fact that how when we used to FaceTime you when you were in hospital, really unwell, I think it
Buddy,
was
stop
like
that.
that is disgusting. I think it's quite like worrying knowing like I saw you like that and that I could be the one in that bed soon, like feeling and looking that way.
If there is anything that you could change, what would it be?
That first of all, like, not all of this happened to you. I think it was horrible for you to go through and stuff, and I wouldn't wish it upon anyone really. But then obviously more the fact as well that you got that they actually started to see yours from a like younger age when you started getting it. I think if you could change that, I would make sure it happened, because obviously they waited 15 years to actually
It's not they
realise.
waited, they misdiagnosed me for 15
Yeah,
years.
and then they
Coco.
finally saw it come all about. And if there's anything I'll change, it'll be that is that you didn't have to go down the route of getting all this. But then I feel like big time as well, you're much more happy with your life now, and like you've experienced so much more new things than you would if you didn't have the surgery. And you can actually enjoy them rather than worrying where the nearest toilet is.
No. On a final note, if there is another teenager out there at the moment going through this with either of their parents, with any other condition, you know, that they've got a really unwell parent for a period of time, what advice would you give them?
To always make sure you also get support, whether or not it's your parent who's going through it. Just make sure you also have someone there to speak to about everything, and also ask some questions, like get to know everything about it, what's going on, and that you don't feel stressed out about the whole reason of not knowing what's going to happen next or what route it's going to go down and stuff like that. And I think you'll be a bit more at ease with it all than stressing as much.
Perfect. That's our first one, Madison and Mummy, Sophie, on Monostoma and me. Hope you enjoyed. Bye.